எல்லாருக்கும் வணக்கம். இன்று மாலை கோவையிலையும் அடுத்து திருப்பூர்லையும் கட்சியின் சார்பாக நடைபெறக்கூடிய பொதுக்கூட்டத்திற்கு மார்க்சிஸ்ட் கம்யூனிஸ்ட் அகில பொதுச்செயலாளர் சீதாராம் யெச்சூரி அவர்கள் வந்திருக்கிறாங்க. அதை ஒட்டி பத்திரிகையாளர் சந்திக்க விரும்பினார். இப்போ முதல்ல சீதாராம் யெச்சூரி அவர்கள் பேசுவார்.
உங்களுக்கு எல்லாருக்கும் வணக்கம். Well, I've come here for the first phase of coming to Tamil Nadu in connection with the assembly elections. The CPIM today all over the country is in a determined struggle against the policies being pursued by the central government led by the BJP and Mr. Narendra Modi as Prime Minister. All across the board, these policies are destroying the foundations of the Indian Constitution, imposing unbearable burdens on the people. The prices of petroleum products are being increased every day almost. And this is essentially a tax being imposed on the people, making their lives more miserable, in order to meet the propaganda expenditures of the Prime Minister and the BJP. And lakhs of crores of rupees are being collected by imposing greater economic burdens on the people. The economic policies that are being followed are policies that are destroying India's self-reliant basis of the Indian economy. The public sector is being privatized unscrupulously. Banks are being privatized and foreign banks are being allowed to come into India. All the needs and the purposes for which bank nationalization took place is being negated. The entire focus is on making the big corporates bigger. And India has today the most inglorious record of the highest growth of economic inequalities, when nearly 15 crores of people lost their jobs and livelihoods last year due to this COVID pandemic. You had our billionaires actually making a bonanza profit, and the highest growth of the wealth of the billionaires anywhere in the world is in India. And all policies are being directed towards further enriching chosen cronies or friends of the Prime Minister, and everybody knows who they are. And this is destroying also the Indian industry, in the sense that except for the big corporates, all other sectors of the industry are being ruined, particularly the MSMEs. When I come to Coimbatore, I always remember that all through in the past, for many, many years, Coimbatore was known as the pump capital of India. And today you see the complete destruction of this entire sector, the largest employer in industry. You've seen the laws that have been brought in the name of agrarian reforms. For more than 3 months now, the farmers are on a struggle, and they have encircled the capital of Delhi on all the national highways. And this government is being totally obstinate to accept a very, very, very simple demand and a very reasonable demand. What are the farmers saying? Repeal these laws that you have forced on the country through the parliament without allowing any parliament discussion. Discuss with the farmers, discuss with other stakeholders, discuss with his own cronies and friends, and then bring fresh proposals for agrarian reforms and enact them in parliament in proper way. This is the most reasonable demand. But because of the decision once taken by the Prime Minister, it cannot be rolled back. The country is suffering. More than 300 farmers have died, have become martyrs in the struggle so far, braving all repression. But this government is just completely unresponsive to the demands. Unemployment is one of the worst. 15 crores have lost jobs, as I said. For our youth, there is no future. And the communal polarization that they're doing, imposing their conception of what India should be, that is destroying its plural foundations, destroying federalism, which is an important issue in the forthcoming elections in Tamil Nadu, unilaterally imposing the education policy, by which also the language policy. And in this way, they are completely destroying the foundations of the Indian Constitution, and anybody who opposes them is now being picked up under UAPA or sedition. Today, finally, the Supreme Court has come out yesterday saying dissent against the government is not sedition. But the number of sedition cases that are there in appeal before the Honorable Supreme Court, they are not being actually disposed of with the urgency that is required, and these people set free. And this sort of an autocracy, the authoritarianism that is growing, these sort of fascistic attacks on the people that are growing and targeting Dalits. Look at the number of Dalit girls who are gang raped and murdered. Targeting the lower castes, targeting the Adivasis. These are matters of very grave concern, and we have to protect India and Tamil Nadu from this sort of an assault. So our party has been, during the last few years, conducting very vigorous people's campaigns against the BJP and the AIDMK alliance and the government here. And the AIDMK government in Tamil Nadu, very unfortunate. Tamil Nadu has got a very big legacy of fighting for the rights of the states, for the principle of federalism. But this AIDMK government is actually supporting every single measure of the BJP that they are taking in the parliament, including these farm bills, including this industrial policy, and including the communal polarization that is taking place. This is not acceptable. So that is why the CPIM is today saying it very clearly that we are working for the defeat of the BJP AIDMK alliance in Tamil Nadu. For this, we will cooperate with all the forces who are willing to achieve this objective. And as all of you are aware, we are part of the overall understanding along with that secular democratic forces led by the DMK in the state. So we want the DMK also to show the responsibility that it has always shown in the past of carrying together all the other forces who are willing to achieve this objective in a reasonable manner, in a manner in which everybody, all the constituents of this sort of a coalition, electoral coalition that will emerge, they are all remain together and stronger in defeating the BJP AIDMK alliance. So that is what we are working for here. And we think all the issues that I have mentioned and many more are very important issues that have to be discussed and decided upon in the Indian Parliament. Now the Parliament session is going to meet from the 8th of March. It is supposed to go on till the 8th of April. The elections in Tamil Nadu are on the 6th of April. Bengal, 8 phases, already the nominations have begun for the first 2 phases. Election process is already on. Assam, you will have them in 3 phases. So Assam, Bengal, Pondicherry, Kerala on the 6th of April. So bulk of the states from where the opposition MPs go to the parliament. that is Kerala, all 20. Then Tamil Nadu. And not,
39.
39, but out of which the opposition to the BJP may be less, and then Bengal, all MPs are in opposition, 42 are in opposition, 20 in Kerala in opposition, sizable number from Tamil Nadu in opposition, and from Assam in opposition. Now, all these parties will not be in a position to articulate the people's concerns in Parliament during this election process. So, our MPs are moving to the House Chairman and the Speaker of the Lok Sabha, except for the immediate financial business that has to be transacted because of the budget and the implications of the budget and the financial bill. Apart from that, the session must be rescheduled, taking into account the election schedule that has been announced by the Election Commission. So we would want to carry this forward in Tamil Nadu, and Tamil Nadu legacy, even during the fight against the emergency. Many of my party leaders, in order to escape the arrest and the harassment there and the abrogation of democratic rights, had come to Tamil Nadu, because Tamil Nadu was not implementing Indira Gandhi's orders then, very correctly so. So that tradition of the people of Tamil Nadu must be continued in these elections. We are saying that the BJP AIDMK alliance must be squarely defeated in the interests of India, in the interests of Tamil Nadu, and in the interests of the federal principle of the Indian Constitution of the equal rights for the states. So this, in short, is what I would like to share with you. Any questions you have? Then you
Elections are hearing like this, that Sasikala is quit from politics. We have given a statement yesterday evening. How do you see this? BJP had welcomed this Sasikala's exit from politics.
Naturally, BJP will welcome it. Naturally, BJP would welcome it. And how much has the BJP role in that? It's up to you to find out in the decision that Madam Sasikala has taken.
Do you suspect any role of BJP?
Well, you help us in finding out. Of course, as they should. They would be. If they are welcoming it, they obviously use their role. Well, I think in Tamil Nadu, it will be a defeat of the ruling party. In Kerala, it will be the victory of the ruling party.
Why do you say that?
Huh?
Why do you say that?
On the basis of the work they are doing.
So recently,
On the basis of the work they are doing, what is the stand of your government here, where you say there is no anti-incumbency? On the imposition of Hindi, on the farm bills. Kerala has adopted its own farm bills, rejecting the centre's farm bills. Has Tamil Nadu Assembly done that? On the contrary, your government is supporting those farm bills. So there's a difference. That is why I'm saying it. The AIDMK is seen as completely the secondary junior partner of the BJP. That is why it is suffering because of what the BJP is doing to the country.
So recently in Mumbai, the persons who supported for the farmers this thing through Twitter was just involved in the IT raid, like Thakur and Topsy. How do you see that?
This is precisely what I'm talking of the fascistic attacks. Anybody who is taking an opinion against the government's position, you have either ED raiding them, you have either UAPA charges against them, you have either sedition against them, and they are kept in jail. What is the meaning of these people? Like Varwar Rao, Gautam Navlakha, Sudha Bhardwaj, in jail for more than 3 years. And till now, the police has not been, NIA has not been able to produce a charge sheet. Because UAPA, you don't have provision of bail. The NIA keeps saying extension of time and another 6 months, 6 months. Eventually, they'll all be released as innocent. But the point is to harass them for 4 or 5 years like this. You asked, you're only 3 members in the parliament. Why is it that for Mr. Modi, everything is the left is doing? Farmers' agitation, left is behind it. Tukde gang, left is behind it. Urban Nakshals, left is behind it. If we are marginal, why are they so bothered about us? They are bothered because we are the strength on the ground. the evaluation of what is the political impact of any political party is not only on the number of representatives in the parliament or assembly. It's on the capacity to mobilize the people, draw them into agitations, which will influence the country's agenda. Today, the strike by the bank, including officers, 2-day strike call that they have given. In every single public sector unit that is being privatized, today big actions are going on. Your coal mines were privatized. Till now, no private bidder has been able to take over any mine, because the workers have just refused to allow anybody to come in there, saying that these are national assets, that's the problem. Who's doing this? So it's not only the strength of the parliament, what is the actual strength among the people to influence the country's agenda? And that is why today, even though we are only 3 in the parliament, like you say, the entire focus of anything that happens in the country against the government policies, they say left is behind it. And it's not me saying, or they are saying, it's the Prime Minister himself saying. Hey, you asked about the petrol sir. In that connection, we find it very strange that the Election Commission yesterday has said that the photographs of smiling Prime Minister Narendra Modi in every petrol pump is a violation of the Code of Conduct. All these years they were there like that, there was no violation. Today, why did the Election Commission say it's a violation? Because everybody who goes there to fill up petrol is cursing Modi on that poster. So Election Commission will come to Modi's rescue, saying, okay, cover it up. It is a violation of Code of Conduct. What is happening to a parliamentary institution? Is this an independent body? What is not a violation of the Code of Conduct for the last so many years is now a violation of Code of Conduct. Only to help the Prime Minister not being abused by everybody who's filling up petrol in a petrol pump. West Bengal election, now you saw that mammoth gathering at the Brigade Parade on the 28th of February. That is that if these people are allowed to vote, then it is a very clear contest between the ruling Trinamool Congress and the left. And the left front and that alliance. That is the direct context that is going to be there. Ethic 8 phases, but it is under the Indian Constitution, it is the only authority that can decide on the mechanics of conducting the election. They have decided. We all have to accept if we follow the Constitution. But why 8? I can give you my explanation. I don't know what the official is. The BJP doesn't have any worker or a cadre there, or even a leader. Very few BJP leaders speak Bengali. They are all Hindi, coming from outside. If election is held in one phase like in Tamil Nadu, they don't have that many leaders or cadre. If you have them in 8 phases, the same people can move from one phase to another to facilitate BJP campaign. What we are now saying is the fundamental basis of an election in India, according to the Constitution and the rules of the Election Commission framed when it was formed, is the physical verifiability of the voter. Yaro proxy vote kuda muriyadu. Physical verifiability. That is the fundamental basis. That cannot be violated. Postal vote kudunga, but it has to be physically verifiable.